Hello and welcome to the final project presentation, Enhancing Science Learning Through Application Style Questioning by Matthew Kipling in the Department of Education at Northern Kentucky University for the class EDA 792 in spring of 2024 under the guidance of Dr. Jim Allen. Let's get started. Here's the agenda. First, I'll introduce you to the research project, explain the problem statement, identify the research question, give a project overview, my role throughout the project, review of literature, methodology, data collection instruments, implementation timeline, expected deliverables, action research implementation, data analysis and interpretation. Then I'll go to findings from the pre and post assessments, student feedback on application style learning, teacher insights and observations, themes and meta themes from the student survey will be identified, conclusions and recommendations, implication for curriculum design, future research directions, and then uh, I'll give you guys some time to give me some feedback. So here's the introduction to the research project. So originally, I identified that there was stagnant growth in science proficiency at Gray Middle School, and this is a key issue in necessitating research. So throughout the project, I'm going to explore the impact of application style questioning and learning on student achievement in middle level science. This whole project was aimed at addressing the need for improvement in science achievement through innovative teaching methods. Here's the problem statement. So, Gray Middle School is identified or has been identified as experiencing stagnant growth in science proficiency. This is a critical area that requires immediate attention and improvement efforts. According to the Kentucky State Assessments results for the academic year 2021 to 2022, there has been minimal to no improvement in proficiency levels for seventh grade students in science, which begins in sixth grade. The administrative team, with under Mr. Todd Novak at the time, emphasized the need to address the lack of progress in science achievement within our educational system at Gray Middle. So this led me to my research question. What is the effect of application style questioning and learning on student achievement in middle level science? Keep in mind that application style questioning has to do with phenomena related learning. So students learn the content and then apply their knowledge to specific application style questions where they need to apply what they have learned to specific scenarios. Throughout the project, students were given a pre assessment at the beginning of a new unit using application style questioning. So they were required to use what they already knew and apply that to certain scenarios. They were then given a similar post assessment, and that was conducted to evaluate the impact of this type of questioning. So, my role throughout the project. I led the project focusing on the impact of application style questioning and learning on student achievement in middle school science. My responsibilities throughout included in coordinating with teachers to implement these core practices and approaches to questioning and to learning. And then additionally, the researcher conducted student interviews to gather data for identifying themes and meta themes about student perspective of learning through application style questioning. Here's a review of the literature. So, in part one, you'll see that system thinking and feeding relations, learning with a live ecosystem model. This gives students an immersive experience in learning because they can see what's happening right in front of their eyes. And then they can also explore how changing variables affect the overall system. In section two, you'll see learning and applying systems thinking when studying a local creek system. So this takes it even further. So from the first part, it's right in front of you. The second part is in the real world. And this allowed us to propose solutions to ecosystem issues. And then finally, sustaining student engagement in learning science. This talks about discussions and collaboration um, through experiments So students were expected to work together in order to apply their knowledge and recognize the understanding and impact of variables on specific outcomes. Methodology. So the research methodology involved conducting student surveys to gather feedback on um, their take on application style questioning and learning. Both pre and post assessments were administered, and then teacher interviews were conducted as well as observations. Here's the student survey. This was administered in order to give or to gather student feedback. The pre and post assessments show what students already knew compared to what they learned. And then we're going to compare that and see if there is growth. The teacher interviews, these provided different insights into instructional methods and approaches that we took as teachers to implement this within our classrooms. Here's the timeline. So this project will start or did start in January 2023. That's when the pre-assessment was conducted. Then throughout February, we implemented application style questioning in the science classes. And then in March of 2023, we administered a post assessment to evaluate student growth and learning outcomes. The expected deliverables. So, in order to answer the question, does application style questioning and learning improve student achievement in science classrooms? This will help us guide um, academic decisions, curriculum, standards alignment, all of those things. They will also help us formulate specific teaching strategies. And the expected deliverables include a comprehensive report detailing the research methodology, an analysis of data collected, thematic insights, and recommendations for incorporating application style learning in the middle school science classroom. Here's the action research implementation. First, I administered a pre assessment. Then we went ahead and implemented the application style learning, gave the post assessment, and then I was able to interview the teachers as well. So the analysis methods, this is important to note, they focused on comparing the pre and post assessment results, identifying common themes from student feedback, and then I was able to synthesize teacher observations for a holistic view of what the research outcomes were. The data analysis and interpretation, like I said, we just compared the pre and post assessments. Um, we analyzed the data from student surveys, and then during the interpretation phase, we were able to focus on synthesizing that data. So, the findings from the pre and post assessments, there was a 20% growth from pre to post assessment in the class average overall, which is an area of improvement. So 20% growth, that's pretty significant. And then a strength is enhanced comprehension of Earth's spheres, which is what this was all about, the different parts of Earth and its systems. And one area that we could focus on is the performance variability on explanation questions. So when students are writing a response, um, there were some students that did phenomenal, and then there were others that did not do so well. So, this could be an area for focus in the future where we implement specific writing practices to help students explain what they're thinking in a more effective way. Student feedback on application style learning. Students found that the application style questioning made learning more engaging and practical. They expressed that applying knowledge to real world scenarios helps them understand these complex systems better, especially relating to Earth's spheres. And then students also appreciated this hands on approach and problem solving opportunities provided by an application style learning classroom. The teachers were able to give some insights and observations as well. They emphasized benefits of group discussions. So, group discussions, those grew. Students began to be more positive about talking and discussing things during class, and students also, the overall participation of the discussions enhanced. Teachers also felt that implementing a systems thinking unit encouraged students to kind of break those systems down, to help them understand how the changes affect specific parts of an ecosystem, or specifically in Earth's spheres. Then teachers leveraged immersive learning environments to allow students to manipulate variables and observe system impacts, enhancing their understanding of real world phenomena. So, this is the application part where students took their knowledge and were able to apply that to help them understand this real world phenomena of a systems thinking unit. In the survey, these themes and meta themes were identified. So, application of knowledge, engagement and relevance, and problem solving skills, which goes back to show that overall, what the teachers are seeing, the students are mirroring and proving the teacher's observations. Conclusion and recommendations. So, the research findings strongly support the effectiveness of application style questioning in enhancing student achievement in middle school science. Overall, students seemed to be more on task. They were more participating more, they were discussing more often, collaborating in a more positive light. And this all led to deepen student understanding of the content. Some future practice should focus on continuous professional development for teachers in order to effectively implement application style learning strategies in the science classroom. Implications for curriculum design. So, the research findings inform the integration of application style questioning into the science curriculum, enhancing student engagement and understanding. Eventually, we could see this be implemented throughout all classrooms, especially in the science and social study areas. Uh, the curriculum design may focus on developing more hands on activities and real world examples to help bridge that gap between theoretical concepts and what's actually out there in the real world. So, with practical application. Finally, teaching strategies could emphasize problem solving skills and critical thinking by incorporating more application based learning experiences. In the future, we could do a few things. One, we could investigate the long term impact of application style questioning on student retention and transfer of knowledge. So, this would be watching students as they grow throughout their years in middle school. Of course, this would mean that the staff would have to adopt this type of application style learning. We could also explore the correlation between student engagement and the effectiveness of application style learning. So that's taking part one or step one much further. And then we could also do comparative studies to analyze the efficacy of different types of application style questioning on student comprehension and performance. So, does one type of application style questioning work in a better format for students to bring science concepts to the real world? Okay, now we will have the question and answer session, and I will be sending a Google form for feedback on this presentation. I appreciate you um, joining. Have a great day.